Okay guys, so we're gonna run some turtle attacks today, okay? So when our partner's in turtle position, there's a few ways we can go about controlling and submitting our partner, okay? So the first thing we need to ask ourselves is like, is he in a closed or an open turtle, okay? So in a closed turtle, when he's got his elbows in nice and tight to his hips especially, it can be really hard to get in here and start to throw hooks in. So what I wanna think about doing is controlling my partner at a tight waist here, and I'm gonna block him like so. So I'm kind of sitting hip to hip and kind of putting a bit of subtle pressure into my man. Now in this position, what I want to do is break him down. Okay, so while he's got a closed turtle, hard to get room in, but it's also hard for him to keep his base. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to go knee to knee with my right knee. I'm going to post my hand out wide, and I want to kind of like tuck my shin into the side of his shins. So as I sit down, I'm going to pull his hip and break him down to the floor. From here, I'm going to connect to his tight waist here. I'm going to pull up on his belly here. So now in this position, when he tries to get up to his knees, it's very difficult. And as he does, his bottom leg has to extend, which gives me room to feed my right hook in. Now from here, I'm going to thigh pry, punch my hook over the top, and climb and draw my man down for my score. Okay? So from turtle, we're hip to hip with my partner. I'm going to control his hip nice and tight here. My right knee is going to drop in. I'm going to post my right hand and scoot myself back. So it's like this action of down, posting, and shooting back. So I want to give him room to fall into. Now I come in, hold tight up on the tight waist, and I'm trying to think about pulling hard to make him face the sky. And if he wants to go back to turtle to hide himself in this position, he has to scissor his legs. It allows me room to slip my right foot inside. I immediately go into a thigh pry and punch a second hook. Now I can sort of break my man down and get to his back. Make sense, guys? All right, let's have a try. Okay, so sometimes when we break our partner down here, guys, what can end up happening is as we break them down, instead of getting up on their leg here, they can do what's called a power prop, where they hike up to their elbow, like so. Okay, now he can keep his knees to his chest and get to turtle. So even though I'm pulling here, he can kind of bring his knees in tight and kind of disallow me to throw this hook in. Okay, so when he gets up on a power prop, my new focus becomes this arm. So you want to try and think about attacking the extension that they're giving us. So from this position, we're going to go here, break my man down the same way. Now he gets up on his elbow, so now my new focus becomes this wrist. So here are a couple of good options. Okay, we're going to think about snaking inside and controlling our partner's hand here. Now in this position, I can bring my partner's shoulders down to the mat and put him in a pretty compromised position, okay? From here, I have a bunch of good options here, okay? I can think about coming over and covering his far hip here and rotating my hip through. Now that I've picked up his leg here, I'm in pretty good position to start to think about rolling him through or climbing his back in any which way, okay? So one such way is to come in and fight to a claw grip on the other side, and then from here, I'm just gonna turn him over, and as I turn him over with my body position, I'm gonna lever him up, point my right knee on the floor, and sit my partner up so to come out towards my partner's back here, okay? So again, we're here. I break my man down. He posts his elbow, I feed in with his inside wrist. From here, I'm gonna drive him down towards his chest by pulling on his wrist and pushing weight through my chest here. Now in this position, I can start to climb over the leg and start to win this claw grip here. I drop my leg in and I start to step on the back of his leg here to try and ride his leg, okay? Now in this position, I can think about levering his chin up with my elbow here to put him out of position. And what's gonna happen is I'm gonna shoot my right knee to the floor, my left knee points up to the sky, and I wanna pull his whole head and shoulder up into my lap, and I can pull him all the way through, get out towards my partner's back for my score. So once more. Hip to hip, we're gonna break our man down. Good, when he goes to get up, he gets up on his elbow. I come inside his elbow and I control his wrist. Break him down towards his face. I'm gonna come in and win this claw grip, so feed my arm underneath his arm up to his neck here, walk around the corner, and I wanna ride his top leg by stepping on the back of his knee. Now as I put pressure and open his position up, I drop to my position here where I have my knee up by his head, my left knee points up to the sky, okay? As I do this, kind of like using the momentum, I sit him up, I rock in, and I ideally pull him all the way across, get to my body triangle here, where I have really good control, and I can get out to my score. Cool, guys? Let's have a try. Okay, guys, so the other thing I wanted to touch on is that you don't always have to try and break your partner down. A lot of the time, it can be almost counterintuitive. So a good thing to think about when you're trying to climb your partner's back is that whilst I'm here, I have a good ability to put pressure and ride my partner here. However, like this posture, I'm off to the side of my partner, can allow a lot of his rolls and grambies and back to guard and all sorts of different bits and pieces. So generally speaking, a good position I like to get my guys to think about is like I want you guys to be thinking about riding his hip. So it's like the least gay position in jiu-jitsu, really, if you think about it, right? But what happens now is like, essentially, as long as he's between my elbows and between my knees, now, even if John like rolls any which way, if I keep him between my knees, I've still kind of got him within grasp to start to put my hooks in here, okay? So when you use the cowboy ride, which is what this position's called, you kind of put him in a really annoying predicament where he can't really open up because there's lots of risk, okay? And if he tries to roll, I still have him between my knees, so there's good chances to kind of keep him between my knees and then go to get to my score. So from here, what to do, okay? There's a couple of good options. The simplest is to thigh pry my way into hooks. So from here in this position, even if his elbows are really in tight, I can always feed my hand inside his knee and just kind of push his upper body out and away from his arms here. From here now, I'm just gonna think about throwing my hook in and punching that heel down. Now from here, I turn this corner and access the far side, okay? From here, I wanna get some kind of connection on the far side, so I either wanna get an underhook, control of his leg, or something like this here. So I'm just gonna punch my left leg all the way through, instead of thinking about breaking his hip down towards me, and then from here, fighting for an underhook, a wrist, a hand, or pretty much anything I can access here. Anything that's gonna stop him from turning in this direction, okay? And that's literally like how simple it can be. You're just gonna thigh pry your way into a hook, fight for diagonal control, and you're pretty much on his back. So we're here, out behind my partner, so I'm gonna punch in my thigh pry, so I'm just gonna get it inside here. I'm gonna push his upper body out and away, and I'm gonna throw my heel over my hand and just punch that foot through as deep as I can, basically. Now from here, I can start to think about punching an underhook in, okay? I can even like thigh pry on the other side as well if I want to, just kind of like get to my score, okay? Or I can control his wrist, or I can start to control the scoop grip here. I can try to play for like a short little power half here, break my man down, get into my score. Make sense, guys? So working out of a cowboy ride, thigh prying our first hook in, and then just fighting for the diagonal there. Cool? Let's have a try. Today, guys, so if you're down, buddy. So sometimes when you're playing from cowboy ride, people can start to cotton on to the idea of like, I'm trying to punch these thigh pries in, and what can happen is it can be a bit of a hand fight here, okay? So when I start to put this thigh pry in, he might start to try and bring my hand out, like peel it out. And so a lot of the time you're gonna have this battle where you're kind of hand fighting with your partner and he's kind of doing all sorts of bits and pieces. So a good thing to think about fighting for is a cross wrist control, okay? So I'm here, I'm gonna oftentimes start with 2 thigh pries. I'm gonna working my arms in here and kind of making this difficult. When he's trying to block me here, I'm gonna fight to get to a cross wrist. So if you sit up for a sec, John. So I'm fighting for this connection here, okay? This is really sneaky because now I can do a few different things, okay? Now, when I thigh pry on this side, he has no means to block me, okay? First of all, that's pretty strong, okay? Additionally, sometimes here, you can thigh pry and, you can get the cross wrist and hold his elbow. And now, like, even though I don't have a clean thigh pry, there's no ability for him to stop me from throwing this hook in here. And now I have a really good handle, like when he tries to move here, when I have this 2-in-1, if he tries to rotate around my chest, for example, it's like comically dumb. Like you're actually really well locked to his elbow here, and that gives me a lot of time to throw this second hook. And then eventually I could work into my strangle hand and start to work for my cross grip. So the good thing about this is that when I land in the back take, I'm ready to start to throw and trap my partner's arm and go to my work from here, okay? So when you take the back with this grip to begin with, it's a really nice little tool to help me fight later to threaten to strangle him and then trap his arm and get to work on our back control attacks. Okay, so coming out, so kind of using a bit of like indirect gripping to win this cross grip here. So I'm here, I punch my thigh pries in, I'm trying to work towards his back, he's trying to defend. I'll oftentimes win this wrist and make a pass off. So what's happening there, so if you sit up, I'm here, I'm thigh prying, he wins his hand, I pass it off and get to this grip here. Now from here, he has no defense to block my thigh pry, or sometimes he can pull this into his body and there's a lot of room to throw this hook over the top and then roll my man through. And now again, when I get to my underhook side here, now I can start to threaten to trap him and collect his elbow and stuff like this, okay? So this one will take like a little bit of like, precision in terms of where you roll him, okay? If you want to try and land on this hip, kind of pull him down your body to help make that elbow trap accessible. But honestly, this hand trap works really, really well because then they're just stuck like this and they have no ability to defend hooks. So it comes in really easily. Cool? Let's have a try.